Thank you for supporting our channel. Thank you for supporting Wizan. Please like, subscribe, comment and hit the notification bell for any future videos.
I'm married and I've still got my own name.
Ah, no.
Doesn't it? I sound like my mum.
You're joking. So we're here with Jane Goll and Shana Swash from EastEnders fame.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Back in the day, I mean, you know, I was a big fan of EastEnders back in the 80s.
I got off.
So we're here with Jane Goll, who is Jane, I don't know what your role was. Was you the writer, the director, the producer, the everything?
Writer, director.
Okay. Of Without Walls.
Love Without Walls.
Love Without Walls.
We've got a screening coming up in London in a couple of weeks' time, just up the road at the Genesis.
The best cinema in town.
Best cinema in town, independent cinema. And I can drop in some flyers for you.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, I told you that I watched the trailer and I thought that the acting was superb. Really.
That's just in the trailer.
And there was a few lines in it. There was nobody fails the knowledge. You only give up. It's cliche, and it worked. The person who spoke it said it exactly. It wasn't you, was it?
No, it weren't. It was Niall, weren't it? Oh no, it was me. It was me.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
No one gives up the knowledge. No one fails
knowledge. They give up the knowledge. Yeah,
Shana.
Yeah, you was right. And I think as a partner to somebody that's obviously been doing the knowledge for so many years, Paul, you get to that point where it's frustration. You're like,
your partner's doing the knowledge?
No, as in Paul in the film who's doing the knowledge. Come on, keep up.
Should we give you a synopsis?
Yes, go, Jack.
Go for it.
And
Yeah.
then you'll have
Yeah.
So the film is called Love Without Walls.
Yeah.
It's a music drama set in London and Southend on Sea. It stars Shana Swash, who plays the character of Sophie, and Niall McNamee, who plays the character of Paul. And the story is Paul is an aspiring musician, but on the side, he's doing the knowledge. And that's all I'm going to say because it was spoiled the surprise. So Shana in real life, fiance, is not doing the knowledge, but my husband in real life has done the knowledge.
And he's a legend in the cab world. Yes.
And he is a black cab driver. And this is the reason why I wanted to put it in the film, the whole thing about the knowledge, because I hadn't really seen anything about actually people doing the knowledge. And I found it fascinating.
So when you was preparing, what came first? The idea of let me include the knowledge in a film, or the love story? Because it looked like a really nice love story to me.
It is a love story.
So was your intention to create a love story, or was your intention to create a love story based on a subject that hasn't really been touched too much in terms of that knowledge?
The love story came first because I actually wrote the script in 2010. And at that point, it didn't have the knowledge in it because Lewis hadn't done the knowledge then, or he was doing it, but he hadn't got his badge.
Yeah.
It's only when I got the script out Christmas 2019 before Shana read it, then that's when I put it in because I just felt it needed another layer, and that was the layer.
Yeah.
So the character of Paul in the story, he's doing the knowledge, but he actually wants to be a musician, and he's doing the knowledge because his late father was a cab driver.
Yeah.
It's almost in his
DNA.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that actually, in terms of promoting the knowledge as a thing to do, I always did the knowledge so that I could do other things. And it is the perfect thing, especially even acting, because actors are not working all the time. And this being unemployed at the moment, well, I'm driving a cab at the moment, and you can carry on doing stuff. Yeah. Tomorrow we've got a comedian coming called the Crazy Ginger Cabbie.
Oh, yeah.
So he's coming tomorrow. And I was thinking about this aspect as well. You're free to take a chance on being a famous comedian and still survive because you're a cabbie.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. And actors, so few are earning good livings, aren't they? You have to be very, very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I know quite a few actors that have done the knowledge. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, most of my friends that are in the industry are all sort of doing the knowledge and are cab drivers. My late dad was a cab driver, so as soon as I read that in Jane's script, that kind of made me go, oh, hang on a second, I like this. Hang on, because this is relatable to me.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying, going back to the saying of nobody fails the knowledge, they just give up. For me, you know, I've listened to the stories of my mum going through the knowledge of my dad and how hard work it was. So going back to what I was saying was, you know, as a partner for somebody who's doing the knowledge, sometimes it can get really frustrating to keep the passion going and to keep them going out and doing the runs and to keep them on the bike all weather, all year round. So for me, that line is one of those lines that I think every knowledge partner has probably had in their vocabulary.
Well, you might be very inspirational, because one of the things that tends to happen that I see more often is that the partners are not very helpful. So, and I tell my students when we used to do an induction and they'd come in, and my standard sort of joke was that, look, if you can explain to your partner how serious this is, if you can tell them that your focus needs to be here, and you're not going to be able to just run to Tesco's and take them out for holidays or everything, your focus is going to be on this. And the quicker you get this done, the quicker you can get divorced and find someone you really love. And for so many of them, it's true.
Yeah, I mean...
Sad though, really sad. But it is, because it's such a lovely journey to go on, and ultimately...
If you support them.
Of course, but ultimately that's going to be for both of you, and that's going to be for your family, and that's going to be... So I don't see why partners nowadays aren't supporting when it comes to knowledge. I know it takes a long time, and I know, you know, it's difficult with money and work in between, but ultimately it's for an end goal for you both and for a family. So for me... I think that's really sad to think that there's unsupported partners out there.
Oh, there's plenty.
Well, I think, I mean, so when Lewis had started doing the knowledge in his 20s, and then his acting was getting quite busy, so he stopped it. But it was always something that he wanted to go back and do. And he absolutely loved studying the knowledge. He enjoyed the whole process. And when, I can't remember the year now, but when, so we're living in Camden, and I was giving up because I was acting as well and performing, and I decided that I was going to give that up and I was going to sort of focus on directing. And then Lewis was like, do you know, I think I should go back and do the knowledge, and because it's something that, it's one of the few jobs that really is, you can have freedom, because even other self-employed jobs, like for example, if you're a carpenter or an electrician, you might still have other people working for you, so you've got that responsibility, or you've got clients, you've got to go and do that job that day because you promised them they'll do it. But with what I love about, you know, Lewis being the black cab driver and when he's not acting, is the fact that actually you might just get a day where you think, well, actually we want to go here. I haven't got to answer to anybody apart from myself. I think that's wonderful. And like you said, for actors, I mean, it's the ideal job really, because you get an audition, you haven't got to try and get time off work. You can even drive to the audition, get changed in the back, have a little kip. You know, and for me as a director, it's been great because you've got so much space in the back there. I'm often in like the back using it as an office when we're driving around, or you can put camera equipment in there, all that stuff.
Yes.
It's perfect. But I didn't even know anything. I'm from Southend originally, and when I first heard about the knowledge, I was 18. I'd moved to London. I was living in Bayswater at the first Butlins Hotel. Oh, yes. Which was, I think, Prince's Square near Whiteley's.
I think there was a couple. I think there was one.
But it was only there for about 3 or 4 years. And we used to have big red buses that we would do tours of London for the people staying in the hotel. And one day I was doing a tour and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was going, oh, yeah, that's the Church of the Bow Bells over there. And this guy came up to me and he went, no, it's not. That's a Methodist church. And he went, I know, I'm doing the knowledge at the moment. And I was like, it was some like religious thing. I didn't know what I was doing. And that was the first time I'd heard about the knowledge. And then I was doing a play, and one of the actors after the play, he was like, oh, I can't stop, I'm on my 21s. And then they explained to me what it, you know, the whole thing. So yeah, I think it becomes, I think, you know, to be a partner of someone who's doing the knowledge, you really have to support them. Yeah. And I mean, I literally, when Lewis said about doing it, I said, well, how long is it going to take? He said, oh, anything from 2 years to 10 years. And then I thought, do you know what? That time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
So if you start today, you're one step,
Closer.
step by step. That's one of the songs in our film. You're one step closer. Because that time's going to pass anyway.
It's true. People don't see it, do they? I mean, when we had a guy in today, he said his dad asked him to do the knowledge with him when he was 18. And when you're 18, you just don't see the world. You just can't see the wood for the trees. And if he had done it, and we all dream about it now, if I'd have done it when I was 18, you'd be 20 and you'd be driving a cab. Might be dangerous, mind you. You'd have too much money for a 20-year-old on a regular basis. Might be too much. And the thing about people who also procrastinate a little bit too much, I did the knowledge with my friend Stephen Gardner, and when he did it, he's always saying to me, I'm doing it so that I can learn to play the drums. I want to be in a band. He passed that, became a cab driver. He still drives a cab every single day now. That's 30 years ago. He never tapped a single drum and never followed anything from it, So it was like, you got to move on and do stuff. So, Jane, you was an actress as well.
Yeah.
What have you done that I might have seen?
Oh, nothing exciting. I done bits and bobs, and I was a dancer as well. I was in a band for 15 years. Done lots of theatre. That's how I met Lewis. So nothing you would have seen, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Nothing that I could talk.
We're lovies, aren't we?
They were lovies,
We love each other. We it's hard, ain't it? When you're not in it, it's difficult, and people are like, oh, no, I don't like that. But actually, you know what? It's all just a big game of lovely mates and working with lovely people and enjoying it, and you slip into crews and slip out of crews of people. So it is.
Are you from one of the famous acting schools, Shana?
Actually, me and Jane went to the same drama school. We went to Anna Shares.
Anna Shares?
Yeah,
That's
the
where I met
prestigious
Lewis.
Annas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you an East End girl or an Islington girl?
I'm an Islington girl.
Okay.
I grew up around Anna's, to be honest. We grew up being very mischievous in the park opposite, which actually isn't where I now work. So I feel like I've done a full circle and back to my home turf again. But Anna's is great. Well, I mean, it just really is. My brother went Anna's, and for me, it was more of the buzz of what was going on with my brother and his mates, and it was really cool, and they were going Anna's, and they were doing improvs, and they were putting these shows on, and I was going, what's going on? I want a bit of this. Yeah. And then you do, and it was one of those things that was never really took seriously, and I don't think Anna's really does take themselves seriously, and that's what I love about it. And for me, it started off as a get me off the street, and you pay £2.50, and you go in. And,
brilliant.
But then it turned into something that actually I was really enjoying.
Yeah.
And, it's a confidence build, and I was there at the age of 12, and you're making friends, and it becomes your routine. And actually, I really fell in love with drama and doing it a bit more professionally than what all my other mates were doing. So it's really lovely now working with people like Jane, because Jane really was my peer, really, at Anna's. Not that we didn't really mix with each other. I mean, I don't really remember you at Anna's.
A little bit older.
But for now, I always say it's really nice because I feel like we have the same ethos because we've come from the same drama school. Yeah. So it's really lovely working with Jane, knowing that we've kind of got the same background.
Yeah. I mean, Shana is incredible as an actress. Yeah, no, she really is. I think she is one of the,
Speechless.
I don't want to say the best actress in the country, but you wait till you see her in this film.
Oh, I saw, as I said, I am not joking. I do not. If I didn't think it was good, I would come somewhere like this neutrality of it's very good to film like that. I honestly have never seen better acting for the accent for me to relate to, as if it was in the street, hearing people speak was...
But that's a lot down to you, though. I always say that's down to Jane's writing. Mm-hmm. You really hit the nail on the head, and a lot of the dialogue in it is just real, natural, flowing dialogue that you would be having with your partner, whether you're really pissed off of each other or you're lagging or, you're having a really lovely special moment with each other. Jane really just hits those moments and those marks. And for me, it's the writing, that it's the language, and it's real. And actually, sometimes I think, because I have got such a Cockney vibe about me, you do stuff and you read scripts and none of it really flows off your tongue as much as when I read Jane's scripts and I think, oh, bloody hell, she's got it. So
because you understand the vocabulary as well.
Well,
so
and truly, 100%.
that might be why that's why it's worked, because you understand how we say these things. Whereas an actress that might be from Manchester who's acting in an East End accent and then putting on doesn't understand how we say these things.
Look, we're all from the same place. We've grown up around the same areas. Like I said, Lewis is a cabbie. My dad was a cabbie. There's so many things that me and Jane have got in common that actually, now talking about it, you realise that's probably why we work so well together.
Yeah, definitely. I think, the character that Shana plays in it, I wrote it in 2010. So at that time, Shana would have
been 10 years old.
No, I wished.
I'd
have been
so
20.
I didn't write it initially with her in mind, because she would have, at that point, she would have been too young to play the character. But then when I got it back out in 2019, I was just like, oh, this is...
You knew it was for her.
I knew it was for her.
Yeah. So she plays the lead love interest.
She plays the lead love interest. So they're a couple. So the difference with this love story, I think with lots of film scripts with love stories, it's you see the couple meeting, or it's when they're separating. Whereas when we meet Sophie and Paul, they've already been together. They're married. They're a young
They're an
married
established,
couple.
yeah.
In the all the airs and graces and all the real love there. But it's and I just that was the key to create a relationship that I hope people can really identify with.
Am I going to cry when I see it?
Well, we'll wait. And Niall, who plays Shana's husband, who is a singer-songwriter who wrote most of the songs in the film and sings them live in the film. It was so important to get that casting right and believable. And I think that, their chemistry is so good on screen that you completely believe that they could be a couple.
And Niall is Irish.
Niall's Irish.
In the film, he's Irish, obviously. He's Irish in real life.
Yes.
I don't know.
Round.
He might be like a really, really good actor. I don't know.
He's
but
great at accents, but no, that is his natural accent. And I thought that was beautiful because, again...
it might be making it work better. Yeah.
North London story.
Yes.
Starts in Camden and, there's, as we know, many Irish people in North London, in London.
Yeah.
And I think it gives it a nice balance with the two accents.
I'll have to be careful when I watch films with my children. They say, "Daddy, is it American film? Is it English or French?" And for them, an American film has a happy ending. Mm-hmm. English films, we don't know. French films, someone's gonna die. So she's like, they don't want to watch it. French ending, we don't want it, Daddy. Don't want it. They really cry easily.
I love French cinema.
Yes, we was talking about it just a minute ago about French cinema. There was a horror movie made years ago where the man kidnaps people from a service station and he buries them in the garden alive.
Oh.
The Americans remade it. And in the French version, he buries them in the garden alive and they die.
Go on, what's the happy ending with the Americans?
I never watched it because I couldn't watch it. There's a happy ending. They get out. They escape. They're buried alive in the garden. So, the American films, happy endings. Happy endings, and French films, terrible endings. And English films, we can go either way. Your brother is Joe Swash.
Yes.
And so you're both Mockneys, really. You're not really, So I have to diss it a little bit. You kind of, for me, people from Islington are posh and rich.
No, but you know what? I always say that Islington is so half and half. You have the poor living on the doorstep of the rich in Islington. But so that's, for me, that's why I love Islington, is that there's that real contrast and everybody just gets on no matter what you got and what you don't got. So I class myself as a real Cockney.
Well, you can after that don't got paraphrase. I mean, the grammar's going to go like...
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, I keep reading on Twitter that this year is 200 years of the knowledge. Is that correct? And then I'm seeing people saying, well, no, it's been going 400 years. And then I read yesterday that I think it was a TFL tweet that said on the 23rd of April, which is the day of our screening, it's the day that they gave the first 200 years ago when they gave the first licence.
Okay, I was at the last ceremony that we celebrated an anniversary, and I think that was 20-something years ago. So I don't know what this one would be, to be honest.
They're saying 200 years of the knowledge.
Yeah, so 200 years of the modern knowledge, maybe.
Maybe
the history of the knowledge goes back to not the Alexander Crystal Palace.
400 years, isn't it?
Yes.
So
No, 400 years?
Is it?
Seemed a long time ago.
Oh.
Did they have electric cabs back then? I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, so maybe, I don't know.
I'll have to check it out for you, Jane.
We actually have, so just another plug here for the
Sure.
film. We have a beautiful song in the film called The Knowledge.
Are all the songs original?
Yeah.
They are.
Wow. And is it a music or the songs just play?
It's a music drama. So the character that Niall plays, Paul, he's a musician. So in the film, as the character, he's playing the music.
It's a bit like the jazz singer, where
that kind of thing.
the musicians playing the songs as they go.
So it's part of his character playing the music, and it's called The Knowledge, one of the songs and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's going to be released in June when the film comes out at the cinemas.
Wow. Okay. So
At the cinemas, 9th of June.
always at the cinema. Are you going to move to Netflix and?
So hopefully that after the theatrical release then.
Yep.
But we wanted it to be in the cinemas and for people to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Because you can't beat that. I mean, we were in Manchester a couple of weeks ago, weren't we? Mm-hmm. And watching it on a massive screen as part of the Manchester Film Festival. That was the world premiere. And it won Best UK British
No
Film.
way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You must be stoked.
Really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the moon.
Yeah.
Is this the first
Really
movie
happy.
you've produced, or you've done others?
No, so I didn't produce it. So Karen Newman produced it. So prior to this, Shana and I worked together on a film 8 years ago now called My Feral Heart, which was a feature film shot in Essex. So I just directed that.
So I'll have to watch that as well now.
Yep.
Can I get it on Netflix or Prime or anything?
I think it could be. It's been on the BBC 4 times. But that doesn't answer your question.
No.
I'm sure it's on the BBC 4 player.
It's on one. It's on.
Ah,
it's
is
on
it?
Yeah, I'm
something.
sure it
it's called
is.
My Feral Heart, and you'll see Shana in that as well. She's brilliant.
When she's much younger.
Stop with the
It was 8
age.
years.
Well, no,
ago.
she said
It was
9
8
years ago.
No, it was, but I don't
8
feel
years
like I'm old
ago.
enough to do
You
something
don't-
8 years ago.
No, she doesn't look any different.
I'm only
She doesn't look any
joking.
different.
Only joking. Well, I'm just going to say it's really lovely being here because I said when I came in, didn't I, Jane, that this could have been my life doing the knowledge.
You would have done it?
I would have done the
wow.
knowledge, yeah, I would have. It was one of those things. My dad died when we was really young, and he was a cab driver. And like we said earlier, I think once you have a cab driver in your family, that's it.
Yeah.
It's cabbies for life, ain't it? And it was just one of those things that either me and my brother was always going to do. Joe attempted to go and do the knowledge, but then ended up getting EastEnders all those years ago,
Yeah.
and then kind of got sidetracked. And then I was like, come on, Sean, pull your socks up. You can do this. Let's do it for Daddy and go and do the
Yeah.
knowledge, and like exactly for all the amazing reasons we just spoke about. But again, life got in the way, and different jobs and different bits and bobs. So actually coming in here today is one of those moments when you really
Yeah.
think, oh God, this could have been my life. Sat in here and doing me points, and so yeah, it's a funny old one.
Yeah, well, Joe would have been a great cab driver. He would have been a stereotypical Islington cab driver.
Yeah, with a non-stop chat your
Yeah.
ears off. Yeah.
I'd have to get out. I can't talk to the cab. I'm getting out.
But again, I think isn't that brilliant for an actor? I think to be meeting people every day from all walks of life. That's what you want. I mean, isn't it, for your craft?
Well, it'd be quite interesting as well if you sort of had a fairly successful acting career and you're also driving your cab, because it can be fun driving your cab. And then you people getting in the back saying, I think I recognise you. off
Rather
the
than the
telly.
other way around, going, hang on, I recognise you.
Yeah, yeah,
Going
yeah.
to the cabbie, hang on, I
Yeah.
recognise you.
Yeah. And there's a guy on YouTube, a cab driver, the Gentleman Cabbie. And I've subscribed to him and he's got some good videos. And it's really surprising how few views he's got. But he does interviews with anybody who gets in the cab who's famous. And he's had some really great people in there. And they get like 1,000 views, these videos. You think, this is really interesting stuff. So I'm really shocked because there's another cab driver, Tom the taxi driver. He's very popular and he's doing very good. And I like him too. But this Gentleman Cabbie doing these interviews in the back of the cab. So you'd jump in and he'd recognise you. I wouldn't recognise anybody. It would have been interesting to see you do the knowledge, but you now are just acting, or you have another job to keep you afloat.
No, I recently, my partner's a joiner, and as I'm saying this as I'm sipping on a cup of coffee, for years I've had this real love and fancy for having a coffee shop or doing something with a little coffee shop. So just after lockdown happened, it was a real great opportunity to, again, pull my socks up and go, right, come on, what do we want to do? Work's dried up, and where can I go? How can we turn the negative into a positive? And we ended up buying a little trailer, and my partner did it up, and we've got a really lovely little coffee shop now in my local park, in the one that I used to be a very mischievous teenager in. Barnsbury Park in Islington, so come down and have a cup of coffee.
Okay, I do that.
But again, I'm loving it, and it's just one of those things, like, it's obviously not the same lines as being a cabbie, but it's one of those things that you work for yourself, it's your own thing, you can come and go as you please, and it's the freedom, and I'm absolutely loving it. So, you know, I can take the time off when I want to.
It's the speculation as well. You know, we're speculating on a bit more success other than the mundane of I go to work, I come home, I'm paid a wage. Doesn't seem to work, doesn't work for me.
No, and I think people are starting to realise that now, and people aren't enjoying that. And we've got big, massive corporate companies that, you know, people have been working for years, and actually, ultimately, you're a minute something in such a big cog of wheels, and you're not feeling the love. And these are now why people are sort of branching out and doing what they've always wanted to do but haven't had the balls to do it. And I think, and again, like with COVID, it was a catch-22 because, it was a real sad, depressing time for a lot of people, but actually it gave people a kick up the arse and go, right, hang on a sec, I need to get myself out of this now, and we need to sort of earn a bit of money, and we need to do something. So for me, that was what my catalyst was for starting my own business.
Yeah, and well done.
Well, we shot the film during COVID, and actually, if it hadn't have been for COVID, we might not have got it made then, because at the time, myself and Karen, the producer, were working towards Witch West, which was a period drama, but that all stopped, you know, when the pandemic hit. And then it gave us time to really sort of get Love Without Walls up on its feet. And we managed, we shot for 3 weeks during COVID, and thank goodness nobody...
I feel like, how much are we allowed to tell him about the film?
The story, which we haven't...
Well, you missed out the synopsis, and then I was kind of thinking, hang on, how much is she not saying?
No, exactly.
Fine.
Thank you, Shana. That's a really good point. Our story is about homelessness.
Oh.
Well, there we go. Look, it's going to go a whole other way now. Look.
The base of it is homelessness.
That's the base of it. And that's how it all came about.
And that's where I think Jane's so fab, because she hits on subjects that are so relevant. Things like HS2, for instance. When do you hear anyone... Like, that's a real issue at the moment.
Highway?
No.
What's HS2?
What's HS2? Well, Jane, you need to cut this bit out.
Really? Everything that just happened there was marvellous. Oh, God, but you...
Do you want to fill him in on HS2?
Yeah.
So
Come on.
High speed 2.
What's that?
The train line.
Which train line?
The one that's been messed up everybody's homes and land.
And that's messed up all the roads. And that's wiped out half of Camden.
No, I know nothing.
Oh, my
Zero.
God.
This is really interesting. So in 2010, we got a knock on the door when we were living in Camden to say that they were going to demolish the whole area and knock down the whole estate for High Speed 2, which is a new train line to go to Birmingham and beyond.
Well, it ain't even reaching
and
London,
now
is it?
we don't even know whether it's coming into Camden. And that was the sort of catalyst that made me get this script back out, because I was just so angry about what was going on, that I was walking down Tottenham Court Road, literally stepping over people rough sleeping, while up the road they're bulldozing and smashing these good, homes. So we moved out of Camden because we got compulsory purchased, and so that was that sort of fueled my fire to make this film. This film's not about that, but this film touches on homelessness, the cost of living, class, aspirations, grief, lots of things. There's a lot in there actually on the when you actually start digging.
So you and Louis got compulsory purchased?
Yeah.
So no matter how happy or settled or at home you were, you had to move.
We had to. We fought it.
Awful.
I mean,
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you've not heard of it. It was consuming every inch of my being, because I thought, we just don't have a voice. You always think, you have a voice, but do we really? So that's why another reason why I wanted to put everything into the film, because I thought it was a way of channeling my anger, but also things that I wanted to say that, standing on the sidelines blowing whistles, nobody was really listening. I made a film in 2013, and it was just like a documentary of 3 of my neighbours. One of them was a prisoner of war in a Japanese concentration camp. One, they were all sort of in their 80s, and they'd lived there their whole life. And it really breaks my heart to think that their last years of living there, they were surrounded by cardboard boxes, waiting and wondering where they were going to go.
How awful.
It's absolutely, it actually really, really upsets me because it's just so unnecessary and just ridiculous.
And it's unnecessary right in front of your eyes, so it's even more frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. And on one hand, you've got people saying, we've got no affordable homes, we've got nowhere to house people, we've got no money. But they find the money, don't they?
Well,
certain things.
The world is in complete, we were speaking briefly, it's in complete turmoil now. I mean, it's like, who has a starting point of £500,000 for a house? No, not a house, sorry, an apartment. A 2-bedroom apartment that isn't actually big. So the apartments here start at £500,000, and they are smaller they're half the size of my council house that I would have been brought up in.
I think when we lived in Camden, and Lewis was born in Camden, people could be a little bit like, well, you live in central London and da-da-da-da-da. But, there are people not everybody who lives in London is rich.
No.
We're all struggling to survive, doing practical jobs. And there's this misconception that, well, that's your fault if you live
there's
in
some
central
benefits
London.
to it, but okay.
Shall I tell you who else is in the film?
Yeah.
We have Paul Barber.
Okay.
From Only Fools and Horses.
You see, I probably know him by the face.
Denzel.
Oh, he's brilliant, Denzel.
Denzel!
Yeah.
We have the amazing Sheila Reid, who plays from Benidorm.
Okay, I have the box set, but I never watched it. My sister said you must watch Benidorm.
Yeah,
the old lady.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
We have the wonderful Ricky Harnett.
I know Ricky Harnett,
in the trailer of Rise of the Foot Soldier fame.
Right. Oh, that was a street gang thing, wasn't it?
Many other films, 28 Days Later. We have, who else? Oh, Adam Deacon.
Don't know him.
He's from Anna's.
He's from Anna Shares. And many
others.
Wonderful actors.
I'm not au fait with actors' names, but I am very good at faces.
Yes, so I'm sure there'll be a few you recognise in there. And also we have Lumakari. He has a little cameo as
a football player.
Football legend.
Yeah. So now I know them. But I'm not a big football fan. I just was from that era.
But why don't you tell him about Lou's lovely charity? Because I think it's absolutely amazing what he's doing. So really cool idea.
Yeah, so the reason why Lou Makari is involved in our film is he runs a charity in Stoke for people who are homeless. And it's absolutely incredible what he does. He's got this big warehouse, and in it he has got almost like glamping pods.
Yeah.
So every person that stays there has their own room with their own number. And it's incredible. It's a brilliant charity. It's called the Makari Foundation.
And it gives everybody an address then, doesn't it? So then everybody can then go into... You can then go into the job centre and you can start applying for things, because that's one of the main reasons that people are struggling sleeping rough, is that you haven't got an address and you ain't got a postcode, so you can't sign on and you can't fill this form out. And so what Lou's done, I think, absolutely really hits the nail on the head, and I can't believe that nobody's not thought of this before, and that we aren't sort of rushing this out and doing this at a bigger span, because it's such a simple thing of just giving people a front door and a pod that they can shut behind them with a door number and a postcode. And that just gives somebody so much more than what it is when you're just saying it.
Yeah. The sad thing is it shouldn't be his responsibility.
No,
should
it shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't be.
No.
It's like, there's another amazing charity called Dogs on the Streets. And they go around London and they help people that are rough sleeping, but also help their animals, their dogs. They're really struggling at the moment because now they've got to pay the ULEs and for their vehicles and stuff, and even though they're a charity and they're trying to, and they should be exempt from that, surely.
You think, but everything in this day and age is difficult.
Because they're helping people, and they like you said, they shouldn't be having to do that.
There should be this Lumakari thing. I mean, there needs to be a designated space. These people don't need brand new maisonettes and apartments. They need a place to build from the foundation upwards. But people then see that they're getting something for nothing. Someone gets the hump because someone's getting something. You should be living on the street if you've got nothing.
But then you would get but it's a whole thing about the rich getting rich and the poor getting poorer. So then you're just sort of keeping a whole group of people down and keeping them further down, and we're not allowed to get back up and keep your head down. No, hang on, your head's coming up. No, let's push it back down again. Yeah. So where is that fair? And who steps up to say, hang on, that isn't fair? Because I feel like, for me personally, we're the little people when they've got so much to say and so much to... such a big opinion about a lot of things, but actually it doesn't really mean anything.
No,
you ain't
no, we're into the politics, realm
I know,
now.
and it's really but it is. It's really difficult. And when you sort of work on things like this with Jane, you walk past people sitting on the street, but actually after doing something like this with Jane, I look at it in a complete different way now. And we did scenes where we were sat on the pavement. I've never been sat on a pavement on a street and looked at the perspective from people's feet. I've never done that. And it was a real game changer for me because well, hang on a second, this is real. This is going on a lot more than what we think it is.
Yeah.
So for me, working on stuff like this just gives me the opportunity to look into it and research and find out myself. And, but there's like what we were saying the other day, it's 62% of the homeless are the invisible homeless. They're sofa surfing and they ain't getting the help. And, they're the ones that are really struggling and to keep themselves afloat. Yeah. But everything just seems to be about putting people down and no one's getting anywhere.
All the obstacles, things that are supposed to be there to make our life easier, but actually just simple things now, but that, a cashless society. We've got, that whole scene in the film where, Shana character goes in just to buy something, with a few coins that she's got. Sorry, we don't take cash.
Card only.
Well, when I wrote that, it wasn't like that. I think I experienced that once in a restaurant where they didn't take cash, which I thought was really strange. But now
it's the norm.
This is the norm, and it's so easy to judge when we see people on, just the people that you see on the side of the road or on rough sleeping. But everyone's story is different, and it's there's a saying you're only 3 paychecks away.
Oh, absolutely! I was going to say that. Yeah,
and bad things happen, and just it's very easy.
That's
to
what
judge.
Really hit home for me when we did it, is realising actually, you know what, we all ain't that far away from becoming homeless or missing a rent or missing a payment or somebody going, we're up in that. Like at the moment,
somebody
we've got
dying
100%. There's a whole thing going on where everyone's rent's being put up and people are now in rent arrears. And then you find yourself and you think, hang on a sec, I've never been in rent arrears, but then it's another step closer to becoming homeless and rough sleeping.
Oh, yeah. A small chain of events.
Oh, of course it is. So easy. So easy.
Split up with a partner or so many things. And the thing that I'm seeing more and more is the working poor. People who are working but are still struggling.
We're heading the way of America, which is very sad. I mean, you see often on these American programs that the person, they're getting told you don't work hard enough, and they're working 2 jobs, maybe even 3 jobs, to live, not to progress, but to survive week to week. So the same here. If we're at that stage, we go to work so that we can improve. You want to know that I'll be able to buy a new car, maybe, if I save. But there is no savings.
No,
this is... if we get this, we can still eat. Well, you can't even choose what you want to eat. This week, we're going to have to eat down. We can't eat up. We're going to have to watch what we eat.
Or it's either eating or heating.
Yeah.
And that's like a major crisis at the moment. Like we're in the UK and people are having to make those decisions. Do we put money on our gas card and the electricity, or do we feed the kids?
Yeah.
Like, what an awful predicament to be in. And we're in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, that poverty really is absolutely ridiculous. And who's doing anything about it? Nobody. Doesn't seem that anyone's doing anything about it.
No. It seems there's
So
a world
hopefully, you know, when we have things like Love Without Walls, for me, I hope that opens up conversations with people that they've never really had before. And it goes, hang on a sec, whoa, I didn't know this was going on. And then it's a whole conversation that people are having that they never had before.
Yeah. So the Love Without Walls, the title is the walls are the house. You have love without the house. Is that what it's a metaphor for?
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a love story.
Yeah. Which I love a good love story.
Yeah.
So, and the cinema, this is I am born and bred here. And that's my cinema as a kid. We'd all walk up to it wasn't called the Genesis, it was the ABC, and then it was the Coronet. So it was ABC always for me when I was a kid. And I went there and saw Bugsy Malone and The Land That Time Forgot when I was a kid. I loved it. They had 3 cinemas. I'm not sure if they've still got the 3. Louis said they have.
I think there's 3 screens.
Yeah, there's one big one.
Yeah.
Then there's 2 tucked away underneath, and they're both slightly different sizes, I think. It was fantastic. I used to...
Yeah, it's a really lovely cinema. So I'm really excited that's the sort of premiere for the London.
What's the connection for you then with the Genesis in terms of that? How do you know it?
Well, I just it's part of the London Independent Film Festival.
Right.
I mean, we screened My Feral Heart there, didn't we? But I haven't. It's not my local cinema, but it's one that I do go to a lot.
So it's an independent, and you're going to show in other independent cinemas across London?
No, so this is the London Independent Film Festival. So it's a whole they've got like a week of films going on there, all different films. And our film is the closing film of the festival. So it's the last film, which is amazing. And then from June the 9th, it will be in various cinemas across the UK and Ireland.
Is it going to show in any of these small arty cinemas around Leicester Square?
Possibly. We will find out sort of closer to the time where exactly, but we're hoping it's going to be, in lots of places around the country.
Because I was remembering a film we watched in the Curzon. And it's this type of film that you're doing. These are not Men in Black 17 or anything.
Yeah,
these are lovely,
real.
Yeah. And they're not the type of films that you get a massive audience to get and go and see, are you? Even though they kind of deserve it sometimes, certainly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think actually this film has universal appeal. I think, I know what you mean.
Is it going to have world release in some way then?
Well, I hope so. I hope it's going to
Cannes?
Well, I don't know about
Watch
that.
the space.
But I hope it will be shown
Next step.
in other countries. Yeah.
Mm. Another thing, a bit of my ignorance. I mean, the producer I thought was the person who funded the film.
No, the producer is the person who basically puts the whole thing together.
Right. Okay.
So our wonderful producer, Karen Newman, I mean, the job of a producer, I can't even explain what a producer does because it's more like what they don't do. I mean, whereas, if you're acting in the film, you might have rehearsed beforehand. Obviously, like Shana's still involved because she's here promoting and talking about the film. But you've got other people that work on the film that might just come on just for like the days that they're shooting or whether it's the crew. But with producing and sort of directing as well, actually, you're sort of there from the conception all the way through to all the post-production. There is so much involved. I mean, Karen and I have been working on this now for 3 years, solid. Yeah. And it still goes on. I mean, this morning she's ringing me up at 9 o'clock. There's stuff that we need to sort out, like we were sorting out the maps this week. And just, so many different
And once it's over, once the premiere's gone and everything else, it's kind of reaches the pinnacle of everything you've been working for and...
But it's still ongoing. It never leaves you. This is why it's so important, I think, to do films that you really care about because it is literally like having a child.
Yeah. But a very big child, a very big fat child.
Yeah. Because there's all, after the cinema release, there's still stuff to do. I mean, that's what's beautiful. I love theatre, absolutely love it. But, you do a show, it ends, that's it.
Yeah.
But with the film, for good or for bad, is there forever.
And we didn't mention it used Anthony Harrison for was he stunts? And stunt double?
So Tony Harrison was our knowledge boy. Knowledge boy?
Consultant. Knowledge person.
Yeah, he's now a cabbie.
Yep.
But you will see, if you see the trailer.
Yeah.
You'll see him
okay, I will put the link to the trailer in the podcast so they can watch the trailer. It is an absolutely wonderful trailer. I am really looking forward to seeing the film.
But I hope for anyone who's doing the knowledge or all those cabbies out there, I really hope that we've done you proud, because I really wanted to sort of show people what's involved in doing the knowledge.
Do you have the cinema posters that they do?
Yes, we have cinema posters. We've also got vinyl album, the soundtrack coming out in June as well when the release. So that's being made at the moment. So that features the songs that Niall has written for the film, as well as our music supervisor, Rob. He's band Some Velvet Morning. There's some songs from them in it as well, and other songs. So
who wrote the songs?
So Niall McNamee, who sings, and
the actor wrote the songs.
Yes,
You're joking.
Yeah, he's the singer-songwriter.
I always say, it always makes me laugh because there was one scene and he'd written the song, he was singing the song, playing a guitar, acting, and a piano. What is that? All at once.
He's Prince in the Revolution.
Bloody hell!
Really?
Can he get any more talented?
Yeah.
Is he bloody handsome as well?
Yeah, he's a good-looking boy.
Shit! I hate it when they got it all.
So that will be coming out in June, and Niall's got his own new album coming out as well.
Is there a reason to go for vinyl? You're going for the classic look, or
because we love it.
Yep.
My dad has a record shop.
Still has it. I
my
love.
dad has a shop. He has
selling records.
Second-hand records.
Where's his record shop?
Beehive Antiques, Battlesbridge.
Battlesbridge, Bridge, is that a village or something?
It's near Chelmsford.
Oh, okay. No one. I don't.
Only know what's on the map.
I do.
What would be really interesting is when you've seen the film,
you
might
come back.
We could always come back, and then because it's quite difficult to talk, Yes,
you know what I mean? Let's do that.
I think, but I mean, as I was saying, what would be amazing if there's anyone out there that wants to come and watch the film,
go and see it,
go and support it, because this is a real proper British indie film. Look out for the film in and around London.
Yes, thank you, Shana.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jane. It really is lovely and a really great project, and I am really, really think what you've done is amazing.
Even though you've not seen it yet.
I'm not.
He's full of it, isn't he?
No. Did I mention that I saw the trailer before you sent me the trailer?
Yes, I don't know where did you see it?
It came on one of my feeds, and I watched it. Honestly, as I mentioned to you, the very first time I saw it, honestly, I was struck. I thought, this is really, really good.
Wow.
Spot on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you go on to massive success, become a very, very famous actress, and you have a very, very big house in Los Angeles, and that you invite us to a party.
Watch this space.
Yes. Well, we'll all live next door to Joe. Joe's probably living it up now. Joe probably lives in Dagenham, doesn't he, next to the Ford plant?
Yeah, not too far, to be honest.
Yeah, I know that Stacey lives near Dagenham, or she did.
Well, no, she is a Dagenham girl, Stacey.